Have you ever had that feeling deep in the night that you're not alone? That unsettling prickle on the back of your neck that tells you someone is watching? I used to dismiss it as just my imagination running wild, a leftover from childhood fears of monsters under the bed. But what happened to me wasn't a monster under the bed. It was something in it. It all started about 3 months ago. I'd just moved into this old apartment building, the kind with creaky floorboards and a history you can feel in the walls. I loved the character of the place. High ceilings, big windows. It felt like a real home. The first few weeks were great. I was sleeping better than I had in years. And then it began. It was subtle at first. I'd wake up in the dead of night, maybe around 3 a.m., and I'd hear it. A soft, rhythmic sound, breathing. It was so faint, I told myself it was just the wind or the old building settling, or maybe even my own breath echoing strangely in the quiet room. I have a king-size bed and I usually sleep on the far left side. The sound was always coming from the right side, from the empty space beside me. Night after night, the same thing happened. I'd wake up, hear the breathing, and lie there, frozen, straining my ears in the darkness. It was a slow, deep inhale and a long, quiet exhale. It sounded so real, so human. I tried to rationalize it. I even recorded the room one night on my phone, but when I played it back the next morning, there was nothing but silence. I started to think I was going crazy, that the stress of the move was getting to me. But the feeling of a presence grew stronger. Sometimes I'd wake up because the mattress had shifted, just a little, as if someone had turned over in their sleep. Other times I'd feel a draft, like the covers had been slightly pulled away. Every morning I'd check the other side of the bed. The pillow would be untouched, the sheets perfectly flat. It was maddening. I was living in a constant state of low-grade terror, exhausted from sleepless nights and the gnawing anxiety of what might be happening. I told a few friends about it, but they just laughed it off. "You're just having vivid dreams," one said. "Maybe your new apartment is haunted," another joked. But it didn't feel like a joke. It felt real. The fear was real. Then came the night that changed everything. The night I couldn't ignore it anymore. I woke up, as usual, to the sound of breathing. But this time it was louder, closer. It wasn't just a faint whisper anymore. It was a definite presence right next to me. I could almost feel the warmth radiating from the space beside me. My heart was pounding so hard I thought it would burst out of my chest. I lay there for what felt like an eternity, my body rigid with fear. And then I did something I still can't explain. Maybe it was bravery, maybe it was foolishness, or maybe I was just so desperate for an answer that I couldn't stand the not knowing anymore. Slowly, so slowly, I reached out my hand across the cold sheets. My fingers trembled as they moved through the darkness, inch by inch, towards the source of the sound. I was expecting to touch nothing, to have my hand pass through empty air and prove once and for all that I was losing my mind. But my fingers didn't pass through empty air. They touched something. It was a shoulder. It was solid, firm, and it was covered in some kind of soft fabric like a pajama shirt. A jolt of pure, undiluted terror shot through me. It was real. Someone was in my bed. My mind went into overdrive. Was it a burglar? Had someone broken in? I hadn't heard any sounds of a break-in. The door was locked, the windows were secure. In that split second, a million thoughts raced through my head, but one screamed louder than the rest. "Turn on the light." My hand recoiled as if it had been burned. With a surge of adrenaline, I threw myself out of bed, scrambling across the floor in the dark. I fumbled for the light switch on the wall, my fingers shaking uncontrollably. I finally found it and flicked it on, flooding the room with harsh, bright light. I spun around, my heart in my throat, ready to face whoever was in my bed, and there was no one there. The room was completely empty. The right side of the bed was pristine. The pillow was plump and untouched. The sheets were smooth. There was no one. It was impossible. I touched it. I felt a shoulder. It was solid. It was there. I stood there, panting, my back pressed against the wall, scanning every corner of the room. The closet door was shut. There was no one under the bed. The window was locked from the inside. There was absolutely nowhere anyone could have gone. It was like they had vanished into thin air the instant the light came on. My mind refused to accept it. I must have imagined it. It had to be a dream asleep paralysis episode, maybe. They call them hypnagogic hallucinations, right? The most vivid dream of my life, that had to be it. Trying to calm my racing heart, I walked cautiously back towards the bed. My logical brain was telling me it was all in my head, but my instincts were screaming that I was in danger. As I got closer, I noticed something that made the blood run cold in my veins. The sheets on the right side of the bed. They weren't perfectly smooth. There was a faint indentation, a subtle depression in the mattress, right where a person would have been lying. And when I reached out a trembling hand to touch the spot where I had felt the shoulder, the bedsheet was warm. Not just a little bit warm. It was the distinct, lingering warmth of a body that had been lying there just seconds before. I haven't slept in that room since. I've been sleeping on the couch in the living room with all the lights on. I don't know what was in my bed that night. I don't know if it was a ghost, a dream, or something else entirely. All I know is that I felt it. It was real. And sometimes, late at night, when the building is quiet, I think I can still hear it. That soft, rhythmic breathing coming from the empty bedroom down the hall, waiting. Thanks for listening to my story. If you've ever experienced something you can't explain, let me know in the comments below. Stay safe, and don't forget to check your bed tonight. Hit that subscribe button for more strange tales. See you next time.